And as a kid, I didn't understand how people who didn't know me, could dislike me because of the color of my skin. I didn't really get any hope until SNCC came in 1963, and I was about 10 then. And I didn't understand why they kept saying they were trying to get their freedom. And grandmother could always make me understand things. And when I was puzzled, I could ask her anything.
Yeah.
But when I asked her, why are we fighting for something we already have? It didn't make sense to me that getting the right to vote and all of this and how it connected. I didn't understand any of that until one day we were in front of a drugstore here in Selma. And that's still there, by the way, on the same corner. It had a lunch counter at that time, Carter's Drugstore. And I wanted to sit at the counter, but my grandmother said I couldn't. She said colored children couldn't sit at the counter. That's what we were called in.
Yeah.
She said it was the law. She said, but one day it's going to change. It didn't stop me from wanting to sit at that counter, even when I knew I couldn't. Every time we passed by the store, I peeked through the window at the white kids and wishing it was me. This particular day, my grandmother was talking to one of her friends, and I'll never forget it. I was peeping through the window, looking at the white kids, wishing it was me. My grandmother noticed, and she put her hand on my shoulder, and she leaned over and pointed through the window to the counter. She said, when we get our freedom, you can do that too.
Yeah.
I became a freedom fighter that day.
Right.
Because I understood instantly that it was a different freedom that they were talking about. The freedom that would let me sit at that counter. And that was my interest to the movement. That's how I started going down to the meetings of SNCC.
And you understood that magnitude then, right? I mean, you were
Right.
8 years old then, and you understood that, like seeing these white kids sit up at this counter, and it must have clicked for you. It was like, oh, okay, this is why this is important. This is why voting rights is important. I can't even imagine that. I don't even remember where I was at 8 years old or what I was thinking at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I was arrested the first time when I was 8. But then I was not the youngest. There were toddlers and babies, as we call armed babies, that couldn't walk. The parents, mothers had to carry them. But they put us in the cell, so I counted as an arrest.
Yeah.
And 8 years old. And that was legal.
Yeah. Look, you got to remember who made the laws and who enforced the laws.
Wow.
We were, according to them, the women had gone to the courthouse, who had gone to the courthouse to vote, were not there to vote. They were loitering because I remember someone coming to the door and putting a paper on, and when we got closer, I saw it said out to lunch. I remember thinking white people should eat her, and because grandmother had just given us breakfast, and they were already eating lunch.
Yeah.
So I didn't. It also makes you realize you didn't understand that side of life, and obviously they didn't eat at the same time that we did.
Right.
Morning, noon, because it's like 9 o'clock, and they already gone to lunch. So we were loitering. We, according to the law, we should have moved and waited until it opened again.
Wow.
Only the doors were only locked because we were there in a public building, by the way.
Yeah.
Joanne, your fight since you were 10 has made a lot of change, because now a young Black person, yes, there's still injustice, there's still more work to do, but I think your work did not go unnoticed, because now we can walk we can sit on those bars, some in some places at least.
You got the right toy area. I like that.
Right.
Yeah. So your fight, yes, your fight is not over, but your fight is not just wasted. That's what I was gonna say, because now as you're saying it, I'm thinking myself, we are lucky to be in this generation, you know, like we have more privilege that you didn't grow up with that we're now going to take them for granted. That's
And you're much, much richer.
much,
Yes.
much.
Right, right. But I wanted to go back really quickly
Yeah, sure.
to voting rights, and I know you're big into like, most of your work is voting, voting relating things. Do you feel like this younger generation, the Dean and mine, our generation, do you feel like we understand the importance now of voting? Do you feel like we really get it and capture once again the magnitude and importance of voting?
That's not an easy answer. Sometimes I think you do, and sometimes I depends on who I'm talking to. Actually, I'm obviously with a crowd here that understands the importance of voting, but there are others who say my vote doesn't matter. What did the vote get us? Where are we now? Now I understand that too. That as I said in the beginning, sometimes I feel like I'm paralleling those times when I was growing up because of all the stuff that's happened. But what people, I think, young people, and I think it was deliberate. You were fortunate enough, son, to have your parents, your dad, to talk to.
Yeah.
Not everybody is that fortunate. Most people don't want to talk about the bad things in their life, the bad things that happen. It brings up those memories. And I'm the exact opposite. I feel like it's therapy, that it's a cleansing. It makes me go on and to make sure that this never happens to you again. But I understand the children who say that it's not, voting hadn't gotten us anything either. We're still poor. We're still treated as second-class citizens. And the same police brutality that we experience today, we've always experienced since we've been on these shores, but every generation thinks it's start over instead of building on what we have. That's, again, that's why it's important to know where we've been as a nation, so you don't make the same mistakes we made and start over. And it teaches you to recognize. And that's what's wrong with some of the young people. And I'm not accusing them or blaming them. I just wish they would reconsider and learn. Those who feel that way. The only way we're going to have any systematic change is to elect people who think like we do. If the person that we believe was going to do that didn't do it, vote them out.
Right.
That's power. That you have the power to do that. And when you don't use that power, you're slapping me all in my face. And then thousands and thousands of others who fought, and even those who died for you to have the rights you wear so arrogant. I'm extremely proud of the young people today who are out there, who recognize we need to be crying out loud until we are heard. And that's what happened in the 60s. We didn't stop until we were heard. That's how we got the few gains that we did. Now, and today, a black woman is running for vice president. What kind of world are we living in now? You know, that a woman, a black woman, a woman, that's one strike, and then a black woman, that's two strikes. So it can even aspire to that office.
Yeah.
But it also, with the signing of the Voting Rights Act, gave Hillary the right to run too.
You said Hillary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
White women. That's what not taught to our children. That the Voting Rights Act wasn't a black thing; it just benefited us as a whole. But it was a people thing.
Yes.
Poor people of any color couldn't vote. Women didn't vote because men, that society dictated that men took care of us then, remember? Except that wasn't in the black family. The black woman had to get out there and work just like the black man.
Right.
But, and had say so. Always strong black women. Some people, I had a conversation the other day, some people said they had too much to say. But, but
I don't think there's. I don't think there's
was
much.
her fault.
Yeah, I don't think there's so
Most
much thing of as too much to say, particularly when you.
ever, son. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you.
I like you too.
I like both of you.
Yeah,
Okay, now that the love fest is over,
yeah.
um, I think, but that's because it's not
Yeah.
taught to us that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the movement that I participated in, when you read the books um and see these documentaries and um movies that I can't stand, so don't even ask me about it. Um, it looks like the man is leading all the time. It
Mhm.
looks like Dr. King was here every day doing the voting rights struggle,
Mm.
telling you go here, you go there. No, Dr. King may have been here 6 times out
Yeah.
of that whole period.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The Selma was already organized and trying to get the right to vote for the
Right.
citizens of Dallas County. Long 30 years before Dr. King came. But that's not taught to you guys. You know,
Mm.
it's just it's selective history. But
Yes.
I, I also wonder why we integrated the schools. Not that it's not a good thing, but we didn't address the educational system.
Mm-hmm.
We left that same system in place. I integrated our high school here, junior high, and I, along with 7 others, I had nothing. I
Mm.
had nothing in there for me. I set up in school and learned how white America made America. And I didn't find out till much later that people who look like me made America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you just took credit for it.
Mm.
Right.
Or it was your idea and I implemented it.
Mm-hmm.
Or it
Mm-hmm.
was my idea and you had to, after I perfected it, you just took it.
Right.
So how do children sit up in school 12 whole years and don't hear anything about people who look like them? Because February is a joke because the state set standards for what you're supposed to learn,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And when February comes, you may have one program, you may write a one essay, and you have that 1 or 2 days. You decorate the hallways and the classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and then you give me 3 minutes to get from one classroom to another. When do I read this?
Right.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
When do I learn this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a joke. It's just really a joke. We didn't address that educational system, and that was a real mistake.
Yes.
Integration, I think, is fine, but we also have to integrate us into the curriculum. You can't just
100%
learn
agree.
about three.
100% agree with that. That makes me think about a book. I'm not sure if you've read it, but it's A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn.
No,
No.
I haven't.
Well, that's one of those books that kind of debunks a whole bunch of notions that have been taught, in schools and this and that. And it kind of sheds a lot of light on a lot of the truths that actually happen, starting from the beginning, starting from Columbus discovering, the U.S. and so on and so forth through the slave trade and all this and that. It's one of those books I feel like it would benefit anybody who's interested in true American history to read. Definitely.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's hard for people to get away from what they've heard all their lives.
Yeah.
That it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lady this morning that said all she hears is that she was voting for somebody that I'm not voting for
Yeah.
because all she sees is people who hate America. No, we don't hate America because I'm hurting and I'm crying out loud. I don't hate America. I just want America to be America for all people who are citizens and given those same rights. So Why is that so hard to understand?
Right.
Joanne, when most of us, when we hear about Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, it feels like a long time ago. And how is it for you? How do you feel when you think about it? Is it too far? Is it a long time for you? And for people who only heard about Martin Luther King, you might be the closest thing to tell us a little bit about him. Do you have any like something you heard when you were marching, or that was made him special? Oh, and the following question would be: do you think in all of us we have that strength and power to make a difference in the world?
Let me go to the second part first. Don't ever doubt yourself. You have that same strength that what you call my strength when I was young. Whatever the situation warrants, young people just step up to it. You don't have that fear that you haven't picked up all that baggage. So don't ever think you can't be that you aren't that type of person, because you are. You were born a leader, all of you, and all your listeners, because the first thing you learned how to do was to follow. And that's the first criteria of being a leader, that you know how to follow. So I know you can do that, so you are a leader. Now, as a kid, we could get to Dr. King, get close to Dr. King, because I think it was because he missed his children, but he would always let us come to him. And when Dr. King asked you how your day was, you want to tell him everything,
Yeah.
minute by minute, okay?
He was a good listener.
But it would be so many of us, you couldn't take up it. We'd be jostling to get close to him and stuff. But he always had a peppermint, and I love peppermints to this day. So I like ones with red and white.
Little red one,
That's when you're in class, it crinkles so loud that paper. Everybody hears you opening it. And he had the softest hands I ever felt in my entire life.
Oh.
His hands were so soft. And even my hands today aren't that soft. As I grew older, I realized he had never done any hard labor.
That's where you were going.
and it's like it is today. I know that's his voice, but I don't remember it. I remember it was just Dr. King.
Yeah.
Dr. Abernathy was a charismatic person too, and he's rarely mentioned. He was more like my granddaddy, and Dr. King was just a star. You were around somebody that's really famous, right? That grandma, even my daddy talked about Dr. King.
Wow.
So he was a star. But Dr. Abernathy was more like your granddaddy, who bailed out discipline with love. So you didn't feel like it was wrong.
Right. Yeah.
When it was time to go, and he said it was time to go, it was time to go.
Yeah.
You pat you on your head and you go out that door, because Dr. Abernathy didn't play. But and I love them both. But Dr. King was special. His voice alone, when I hear it today, I want to get up and save the world. And you asked me earlier how what keeps me going. And I think that's it. That motivation has been instilled in me since I was a child, and I don't know how to get rid of it. And
keep it.
Now, let me say this. Let me digress a bit. You talked about telling your story of the horrors that you had to experience, and I'm so sorry, love. But telling my story has been like a cleansing. The more I tell it, the better I feel.
Yeah.
It's like a weight lifting from my shoulders. Do not hesitate to share your story. To share it, because it helps the world.
Mm.
And that may be your piece in the puzzle for social change. Making sure nobody else has to go through that. And by telling your story, it helps.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will take that along with me everywhere I go. I will go.
What are some of your earliest, like happiest memories? Something that you can think back to your childhood and just immediately puts a smile on your face.
My whole childhood.
Your whole
I had
childhood.
no idea. Yeah, I had no idea that the rest of the United States who looked like me
Mm-hmm.
didn't grow up the same way I did. You know,
Oh,
marching, hot playing dodgeball, playing jack,
yeah,
going
yeah,
to jail. I had no idea.
yeah. Right.
What did I have to compare it to? I had a happy, when people ask me about that, I had a happy childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I was just born at a time when this was happening. And if I had known 55 years from then, I would be talking to you about it. I would have saved visuals. I would have saved everything and written down every word. But
Yeah, right.
happy childhood, I felt love. The only time I didn't feel love was when I left my area of love. So I thought everybody grew up like that. You mean you didn't grow up like that? No.
Of course, yeah. No, I personally, I was blessed to have a very pleasant childhood, and you saying playing dodgeball, playing sports with your friends, yeah, that immediately takes me back, to North Dallas where I grew up. So, God forbid, if this were the last thing that anybody saw from you or heard from you publicly, what would you want to share? Like, what is that key message that you want to express to everybody who's listening?
Remember when I said everybody is a piece of the puzzle for social change?
Mm-hmm.
It's you that determines where your piece fits and to complete the picture. And if the picture completed, your piece is not there, no. That means you're the most important piece. And from this moment on, you need to carry yourself like you're the most important piece because you are.
Mm-hmm.
You want more?
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was great. That was, and I that resonates with me. Because it's for young people, and I think I can speak for a lot of people, and feeling like the work that we do, the work that Dydine does, the work that I do, and millions of other younger people across the planet, we want to know our work is validated, or we want to know our work is it means something, and it's gonna create some sort of change. And it really, it's nice to, I don't know, it's nice to hear, it's nice to be acknowledged and to know that we're not so different from what you were doing 55 years ago.
No, you're not.
I mean, we just have cameras. We're talking into microphones.
Yeah.
It's
and
the same.
I used to use the memograph machine. Now you can just hit a button.
Right. Right.
Or use that code language you guys use on your phone. Because everybody has one. And within minutes you can organize. Where we had to work a little harder. But I want you to utilize those tools. That helps to make your piece even bigger, doesn't it? You're fortunate to be living in these times. And we also, I'm telling you, I say it to everybody I talk to, white people have been silent too long. They've seen what was wrong. They may not have experienced it, but they've seen it, they knew it was wrong, and they didn't say anything. I'm proud to say today, when I look at a Mars, I see a rainbow. Makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That finally, my brothers and sisters who their skin tone is different than mine, they're out there. It's a rainbow of people. Not just me out there crying and to be heard. It's a whole rainbow, and I'm proud of that fact. And I also thank the young people for realizing there's a need. Some the ones that don't realize there's a need aren't doing anything. Those are the people you have to convince.
Right.
to get out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of everybody who's trying to make their piece in the puzzle as large as they make my
Absolutely.
job easy.
Right. Well, we, half of our
Yeah.
work is making our elders, our ancestors proud.
Yeah. Um, when what you just said reminded me of I think it was a Holocaust survivor who told me that when you save one life, you've saved the whole world, and when you
Yeah,
kill one life, you've killed the whole world, which means that if it doesn't matter what color of your skin or religion, if you hurt that person, that means you've hurt everybody in the world. So we are really more alike than we are different.
Yep.
Yeah, and when we always come from that place of unity and love and peace, we are helping each other. From my experience, the people who committed genocide in Rwanda, they really didn't have a beautiful life after genocide either. You know,
no, they could.
yeah. So when you're hurting somebody, you're not leaving your soul alone. Your soul is also being hurt along the way. So it's more of like we have to do this together. Otherwise we're not gonna get anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly,
yeah. I, s-
exactly. You're exactly right.
I see
And
some.
I know those are tired words, unity and um, community and all that, but it also depends on how you define community.
Yes.
If you define community as your street, your block, your city, even the United States. If someone's hurting in Japan, I need to be trying to help them stop that pain
Right.
because
Yeah,
before I know it, it could be here
next
with me.
next door. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah,
that. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much like when you look at what happens around the world, how people hurt each other, the Holocaust, the slavery, genocides around the world, it all have pretty much the same starting points. And if we
you're
get to
right.
learn where those conflicts comes from, we're able to prevent it to happen to us.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. Learning from everyone else and caring for each other, not just our community. That's
100%.
yeah, yeah,
100%. Yeah. No, I agree. And
yeah.
I want to say thank you so much, Joanne, for joining us, joining the Base Range community, and sharing your wisdom, sharing your love, and just definitely expressing messages of positivity and progression. And that's all the work that we do. I think that's all the work that people who are in the comments and the audience, the work that they're trying to do. So yeah, this is very special, and I think we can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
Look, let me be selfish for a moment. First, let me
Sure.
thank you guys for the work that you do around the world, whoever's listening, whatever you're doing to make the world a better place. Because I'm just selfish. I have grandchildren who need a better world.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm tired of them walking out, and I'm afraid
Yes.
that they may not come back. I'm tired of that. And mothers around the world experience the same thing. It's
Hmm.
not unique to us. It's sometimes because it's so personal, we think it's unique.
Right.
But we need to get together, come to the table, and put all the issues on the table, and then just start getting rid of them one by one.
Yep.
You guys are impatient. Each generation gets so far with one thing, and then the next generation starts over again.
Right.
We're going to have to learn to record our history,
Yep.
Yeah.
and we're going to have to teach our children our history so that they don't get bogged down trying to do the same thing that we've already done.
Right.
Just take it further.
Right.
And that's the wisdom. Youth can do that.
We
I know
can
you can do it. I have confidence.
we can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I know. Around the
Thank-
world say we can do it.
We all can do it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was not selfish. It's actually more,
That was good. That was yeah.
I I love my world. I love my world and everything that's in it.
It's a beautiful
My
world.
brother,
Yeah.
yeah, some of my brothers and sisters are just misguided, and it's up to us to guide them on the right path.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thankless job, but do it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me, and thanks the audience for listening.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
You're quite welcome, sweetheart.
Absolutely.
You're right.